Maya Harris thought she'd finally found an honest man, a rugged rancher who worked with his hands and loved her for who she truly was. But when his bitter brother arrived with a cruel smile and a devastating secret, everything she believed shattered in an instant. Ethan Cole wasn't just a simple cowboy. He was a millionaire hiding behind worn jeans and dirty boots, and he'd let her fall in love with a lie, the same lie that destroyed her once before. Now, standing at the edge of heartbreak, Maya has to decide, is the man she loves even real, or has she been played by another ghost in disguise? What Ethan does next will either prove his love is genuine or destroy them both forever. Subscribe right now and comment where you're watching from, because this story of secrets, second chances, and the fight for true love will leave you breathless. The evening sun painted the barn in shades of amber and gold. Maya Harris ran her hand along the horse's dark mane, speaking softly. The mare's ears twitched back and forth, nervous, scared of something. "Easy, girl," Maya whispered. "Nobody's going to hurt you." The horse stomped and pulled against the rope. Her eyes showed too much white. Maya had seen this before, an animal that had been treated roughly. It would take time to earn her trust. A young stable hand named Tommy moved too quickly near the horse's flank. The mare reared up. Her hooves flashed in the air. Tommy stumbled backward and fell. The rope burned through Maya's hands as she held on tight. "Whoa!" Maya's voice stayed calm, even as her heart raced. She didn't let go. "Tommy, stay down. Don't move." The horse's front legs crashed back to the ground inches from Tommy's face. Maya kept her eyes on the animal. She hummed low in her throat, a sound her grandmother had taught her years ago. The mare's ears turned forward. The wild look in her eyes started to fade. "That's right," Maya said. "You're okay. We're all okay." From the barn entrance, Ethan Cole watched the whole thing unfold. His breath had caught in his throat when the horse reared. Most people would have let go of that rope. Most people would have run, but Maya hadn't. She stood there in her worn jeans and dust-covered boots, her dark braids pulled back in a ponytail. She looked small next to the massive horse, but there was nothing small about her courage. The mare finally settled. Her breathing slowed. Maya stroked her neck with gentle hands. "Tommy, you all right?" Maya asked without looking away from the horse. "Yeah." Tommy scrambled to his feet, face pale. "Thanks, Maya. I'm sorry, It's fine. Just move slower next time. This one's been through something. She needs patience." Ethan walked closer. His boots crunched on the hay-scattered floor. Maya glanced up and their eyes met. His were blue-gray, the color of storm clouds. Hers were deep brown, steady and strong. "That was something," Ethan said. His voice was low, rough around the edges. "You saved Tommy's life." Maya shrugged. "Just doing my job. Most people would have let go. I'm not most people." She turned back to the horse, scratching behind her ears. The mare leaned into her touch. Ethan smiled. He'd hired Maya 3 weeks ago. She'd shown up looking for work with nothing but a backpack and a letter of recommendation from a ranch in Texas. He'd almost said no, the ranch didn't really need another caretaker, but something in her eyes had made him change his mind. Now he was glad he had. "You got a name for her yet?" he asked, thinking about calling her Storm. She's got that wild energy. "Storm." Ethan tested the name. "I like it." Maya finally let herself look at him fully, really look at him. Ethan Cole was tall and broad-shouldered, with sun-tanned skin and light brown hair that always looked a little messy. He wore the same kind of clothes as the other ranch hands. Faded jeans, work shirts, scuffed boots. Nothing fancy, nothing that stood out. But there was something about him. The way he moved, the way other people looked at him, like he was more than just another rancher. "Mr. Cole." "Ethan," he corrected. "How many times do I have to tell you?" "Ethan." She tried the name in her mouth. It felt too familiar, too friendly. "Thanks for checking on us." "Of course." He paused, rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, it's getting late. Why don't you come up to the house? I'll make some coffee." Maya hesitated. The ranch house was off limits to most of the workers. She'd only been inside once, on her first day, for the quick interview. "I should finish up here first. Storm looks settled now. Tommy can handle the rest." Ethan's voice was gentle but firm. "Come on. You earned it." Something in his tone made it hard to say no. Maya brushed the dust off her jeans, not that it helped much, and followed him out of the barn. The walk to the ranch house was short, but felt longer in the quiet. The property stretched out in every direction, rolling fields, split-rail fences, mountains in the distance turning purple as the sun set. It was beautiful, the kind of place Maya had dreamed about as a kid growing up in the city. The ranch house itself was big but not showy. 2 stories, white paint, a wraparound porch with rocking chairs. It looked like something out of an old movie. Inside, the kitchen was warm and smelled like wood and something sweet, maybe cinnamon. Ethan moved around the space like he belonged there. He filled the coffee maker, pulled out 2 mugs. Maya stood near the door, unsure where to put her hands. "Sit down," Ethan said, nodding toward the kitchen table. "Make yourself comfortable." She sat. The chair creaked under her weight. From here she could see into the living room, a leather couch, bookshelves filled with books, family photos on the mantel above a stone fireplace. "You take anything in your coffee?" Ethan asked. "Little bit of cream, no sugar." He brought over 2 steaming mugs and sat across from her. Up close she could see the lines around his eyes, the small scar above his left eyebrow, the way his hands wrapped around his mug, hands that had clearly done hard work. "You've been doing great here," Ethan said. "The horses respond to you, even the difficult ones." "I love animals," Maya said simply. "Always have. They're honest. They don't lie about what they're feeling." "Unlike people?" Ethan asked. Maya met his gaze. "Sometimes." There was a story there. Ethan could sense it. Pain hidden behind her careful words. He wanted to ask, wanted to know everything about her, but he also knew not to push. Some things took time. "I grew up around horses," Maya continued. "My grandma lived on a small farm. Nothing like this place, but she had 3 horses, and I spent every summer with them. Best memories of my life." "Where's the farm now?" "Sold after she passed. My mom needed the money." Maya's voice went quiet. "I always thought I'd get a place of my own someday, somewhere I could have horses again." "You will," Ethan said. He meant it, could picture it somehow. Maya with her own land, her own barn, surrounded by animals that loved her. She smiled. It transformed her face, made her look younger. "Maybe, for now, I'm just glad to be here." They talked until the coffee went cold. About horses, about the ranch, about nothing and everything. Ethan didn't mention his family wealth or his real estate investments, didn't mention the money sitting in bank accounts or the trust fund his father had left him. He just talked to her, like a normal man, like someone who worked with his hands and came home tired at the end of the day, because that's who he wanted to be with her. When Maya finally stood to leave, Ethan felt disappointed. He wanted her to stay, wanted to keep talking, but he knew better than to push. "Thanks for the coffee," Maya said at the door. "Anytime." Ethan watched her walk down the porch steps, watched until she disappeared toward the small cabin where she lived on the property. Something inside his chest felt tight. He closed the door and leaned against it. This was dangerous. Getting close to someone meant the risk of them finding out who he really was, how much money he had, and then everything would change. It always did. The next few days passed in a comfortable rhythm. Maya woke before sunrise, fed the horses, mucked stalls, fixed fences, did all the hard, dirty work that came with ranch life, and she loved every minute of it. Ethan was always around somewhere, fixing equipment, talking to the other hands, making sure everything ran smoothly. Sometimes their paths would cross and they'd exchange a few words, a smile, nothing more. But Maya felt it, that pull, that awareness, like her body knew exactly where he was even when she wasn't looking. It scared her a little. On Thursday afternoon, a sleek black car rolled up the main drive. Maya was in the paddock working with Storm when she heard it. The engine purred. Expensive. Out of place on a working ranch. The driver's door opened. A man stepped out. He looked like Ethan, same height, same build, but his hair was darker and slicked back. His clothes were expensive. Designer jeans, a button-down shirt that probably cost more than Maya made in a month. He looked around the property with a smirk, like he found it all amusing. Maya's stomach tightened. Ethan came out of the barn. His whole body went tense when he saw the visitor. "Luke, little brother," Luke's voice carried across the yard. "Still playing cowboy, I see. What do you want? Can't I visit my own brother?" Luke walked closer. His shoes, polished leather, were already getting dusty. "Nice spread you got here. Very rustic." "Luke, though I still don't understand why you insist on living like this." Luke waved his hand around. "Pretending to be something you're not, when you could be in the city, living the life Dad built for us." Maya's hands stilled on Storm's lead rope. She was too far away to hear everything clearly, but she caught enough. Something about pretending, something about the city, about money. Ethan noticed Maya watching. His face went pale. "Let's take this inside," Ethan said sharply. "Why? Afraid your hired help will hear something?" Luke followed Ethan's gaze and spotted Maya. His smirk grew wider. Oh, I see. Is that why you're playing rancher? Got yourself a pretty... Inside. Now. Ethan's voice was steel. The two brothers disappeared into the ranch house. The door slammed. Maya stood there with Storm, her mind racing. Playing cowboy. Playing rancher. Pretending to be something he's not. What did that mean? She'd thought Ethan was just a rancher. A man who owned this land and worked it. But Luke's words suggested something else, something hidden. Storm nudged her shoulder. Maya realized she'd been standing frozen for too long. "Come on, girl," she murmured. "Let's get you brushed down." But the questions kept circling in her mind. Who was Ethan Cole really? And what was he hiding? The next day, Ethan found Maya by the back fence line. She was replacing a broken board, hammer in hand. Sweat dampened her forehead despite the cool breeze. "Need help?" he called out. Maya looked up, saw him carrying tools of his own. Sure. They worked side by side in comfortable silence for a while. The physical labor felt good, clear, simple, unlike the complicated thoughts running through Maya's head. "So," Ethan finally said, "about yesterday, my brother." "None of my business," Maya cut him off. "He likes to stir up trouble, always has. Family can be like that." Maya hammered another nail. "My cousin Annie is always in my business, trying to protect me from everything." "Protect you from what?" Maya paused. The hammer hung loose in her hand. "From getting hurt again, I guess." Ethan wanted to ask more, but Maya's face had closed off. She went back to hammering with more force than necessary. "I had someone lie to me once," Maya said quietly. "Someone I trusted. He told me all these things about himself that weren't true, made me fall for a person who didn't exist. When I found out..." She shook her head. "It hurt worse than anything. Not just the lies, but knowing I'd given my heart to a ghost." Ethan's chest went tight. Guilt crawled up his throat. He should tell her, right now. Tell her everything, but fear held him back. "I'm sorry that happened to you," he said instead. Maya looked at him then, really looked at him. Her dark eyes searched his face like she was trying to read something written there. "Are you honest, Ethan Cole?" she asked. The question hit him like a punch. "I try to be. Trying and being are different things." "I know." They stood there as the sun started to lower. The mountains cast long shadows across the fields. Birds called to each other in the trees. The moment stretched out, fragile and important. "I like you," Maya said suddenly. The words seemed to surprise even her. "I don't want to. It's too soon, too risky. But I do." Ethan's heart hammered in his chest. "I like you too. So if there's something I should know about you, something important..." Maya let the sentence hang. "Tell her," a voice screamed in Ethan's head. "Tell her now." "I'm just a guy trying to run a ranch," Ethan said. The words felt like ash in his mouth. "Trying to do good work. Be a good man." It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. Maya nodded slowly. "Okay." They finished the fence repairs as the sun painted the sky orange and pink. The conversation moved to lighter things, funny stories about horses, memories from childhood. But something had shifted. A crack had formed between them, small, almost invisible, but there. Friday evening brought the ranch cookout. It was a tradition Ethan had started. Once a month he'd grill for everyone who worked on the property. Neighbors would come too. The whole thing was casual, friendly. Maya had almost skipped it. But her cousin Annie had driven up from town and insisted. "You can't hide in your cabin forever," Annie said. She was shorter than Maya, with the same dark eyes but lighter skin. "You need to have some fun." "I have fun." "Shoveling horse manure doesn't count as fun." Maya threw a dish towel at her. Annie caught it, laughing. The cookout was already in full swing when they arrived. People stood around talking. Music played from a speaker somewhere. The smell of grilled meat and vegetables filled the air. Ethan stood at the grill, flipping burgers. He'd changed into a clean shirt. His hair was still damp like he'd showered. When he spotted Maya, his whole face lit up. "You came," he said. "Annie made me." "Hi, I'm Annie." Her cousin stuck out her hand. "The one who makes her do things." Ethan shook her hand, grinning. "Nice to meet you. Maya talks about you." "All good things, I hope." "Mostly." Annie laughed. Maya felt her cheeks heat up. There was something about seeing Ethan like this, relaxed, smiling, charming, that made her stomach flutter. "You hungry?" Ethan asked Maya. "Got burgers, hot dogs, veggie skewers, whatever's easiest. Nothing's too much trouble." His voice dropped lower, meant just for her. "I'm glad you're here." Annie elbowed Maya in the ribs, hard. "Ow," Maya muttered. "I'm going to get us drinks," Annie announced. "You stay here and talk." She disappeared into the crowd before Maya could protest. Your cousin's subtle, Ethan said. Like a freight train. They both laughed. The tension from yesterday eased a little. Ethan loaded up a plate for Maya. Burger, grilled vegetables, potato salad. He handed it to her with a shy smile. Thanks. Thank you. For coming. He trailed off. Just thanks. Maya found a spot to sit on a hay bale. Other workers came by to chat. Everyone was friendly, warm. This place felt like a community, a family. It reminded Maya of her grandmother's farm, that sense of belonging. She watched Ethan move through the crowd. He knew everyone by name, asked about their kids, their lives. He wasn't the boss standing above everyone else. He was just one of them, except he wasn't. Not really. Luke's words kept echoing in her head. Pretending. Playing rancher. Annie returned with 2 beers. She sat down beside Maya. He's cute, Annie said. Don't start. What? I'm just saying, the way he looks at you. Annie took a sip of beer. But be careful, Maya. You barely know him. I know. Do you? Annie's voice went serious. Last time you fell too fast, got your heart broken. I don't want to see that happen again. It won't. Promise me you'll take it slow. Really get to know him before you... Annie waved her hand vaguely. Before I what? Before you fall completely. Maya looked across the yard. Ethan was laughing at something Mrs. Daniels, an elderly neighbor, was saying. The evening light caught his profile, made him look almost golden. What if I already am? Maya whispered. Annie groaned. Girl, you're killing me. But she squeezed Maya's hand, a silent promise to be there, no matter what happened. The cookout lasted until the stars came out. Maya helped clean up. So did Ethan. They worked together, picking up plates, folding tables. Their hands brushed accidentally. Their eyes met. I should go, Maya said. Her voice sounded breathless even to her own ears. Yeah, me too. I mean, I am home, but... Ethan ran a hand through his hair, flustered. Thanks for coming, really. Thanks for inviting me. They stood there, neither moving. The space between them felt electric, charged with possibility. Annie's car horn honked, loud and obnoxious. That's my cue, Maya said. Drive safe. She walked away, climbed into Annie's car. But as they drove down the long driveway, Maya turned to look back. Ethan stood on the porch watching them leave. You got it bad, Annie said. Maya didn't argue. Saturday morning arrived with dark clouds. The weather forecast called for storms all weekend. Maya spent the early hours securing everything, closing barn doors, checking that equipment was stored properly, making sure the horses had plenty of hay and water. Ethan found her in the main barn around noon. Storm's coming in fast, he said. You need any help? I'm almost done, just need to check Storm's stall. She doesn't do well with thunder. I'll help. They worked together, adding extra bedding to Storm's stall, hanging a water bucket. The mare watched them with nervous eyes. It's okay, girl, Maya murmured. We're not going anywhere. The first rumble of thunder rolled across the sky. Storm whinnied and stamped her feet. Easy, Maya said. She stroked the horse's neck. You're safe. Thunder cracked again. Louder, closer. The other horses started getting restless too. Ethan moved down the row, speaking softly to each one. Maya watched him, noticed how gentle he was, how patient. This was the real him, she thought. Not whatever Luke had been hinting at. This man who cared about animals, who worked with his hands, who got dirty and didn't complain. Rain started hammering the roof. Hard. Violent. Within minutes, it was pouring. Guess we're stuck here for a while, Ethan said. He had to raise his voice over the storm. Looks like it. Lightning flashed, thunder boomed. Storm reared up in her stall. Maya rushed over, talking constantly in that low, soothing voice. Ethan joined her. They worked as a team, one calming the horse, while the other checked the stall door was secure. Hours passed. The storm raged on. Rain came down in sheets. Water leaked through a few spots in the roof. Ethan grabbed buckets to catch the drips. This roof needs fixing, he muttered. Add it to the list. They shared a tired smile. By nightfall, it was clear they weren't going anywhere. The rain hadn't let up. The path back to the ranch house and Maya's cabin had turned to mud. Water flowed everywhere. We're stuck, Maya said. Yeah. Ethan looked around the barn. There's blankets in the tack room. I can grab some. Make us comfortable. Okay. He returned with wool blankets and a battery-powered lantern. They set up in an empty stall at the far end of the barn, away from the nervous horses but close enough to hear if something went wrong. The lantern cast warm light in a small circle. Outside, the storm continued its fury, but in here it felt almost cozy. They sat with their backs against the wall, shoulders almost touching. Could be worse, Ethan said. Could be better. Fair point. Maya pulled a blanket around herself. The temperature had dropped. She could see her breath in the air. "Come here," Ethan said quietly. He lifted his arm. An invitation. Maya hesitated for only a second before leaning against him. His body was warm, solid, safe. He wrapped the blanket around both of them. "Better?" he asked. "Better." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, just listening to the rain, the occasional whinny from the horses, the creaks and groans of the old barn. "Can I tell you something?" Maya asked. "Anything." "I was engaged once, 3 years ago." The words came slowly, like they hurt to say. "His name was Marcus. We were going to get married, have kids, the whole thing." Ethan didn't interrupt, just held her a little tighter. "He told me he was a teacher, said he worked at a community college. We dated for a year before I found out the truth." Maya's voice went flat. "He was actually the son of a wealthy family. He'd been lying about everything, pretending to be someone else because he wanted to see if I'd love him without the money. Maya, when I found out I felt so stupid, so used, like everything we had was fake. A test I didn't know I was taking." She took a shaky breath. "I swore I'd never let someone lie to me like that again. Never trust someone who hides who they really are." Ethan's heart pounded so hard he was sure she could hear it. This was it. The moment. He had to tell her. "Maya, You don't have to say anything," she cut him off. "I just wanted you to know why I'm careful, why I ask questions, why honesty matters so much to me." "I understand," Ethan said. His voice sounded strangled. "And you deserve honesty. You deserve someone who sees you, really sees you, and loves you for exactly who you are." "Do you?" she asked. "See me?" "Yeah." He turned to look at her. Their faces were inches apart. "I see you, Maya Harris. Your strength, your kindness, the way you give your whole heart to everything you do. You're incredible." Her eyes shimmered in the lantern light. "Ethan." They moved at the same time. Or maybe neither of them moved. Maybe the space just disappeared. Their lips were about to touch when thunder crashed so loud it shook the barn walls. They both jumped. The moment broke. Maya laughed shakily. "That was close." "Yeah." Ethan wasn't sure if he meant the lightning or the kiss. Maya settled back against his shoulder. Safer, less dangerous. "We should get some rest," she murmured. "Long day tomorrow cleaning up after this storm." "Right. Rest." But Ethan didn't sleep. He stayed awake long after Maya's breathing went slow and steady. His arm fell asleep where she rested against it, but he didn't move. He thought about Marcus, about lies, about the secret he was keeping. He thought about how Maya felt in his arms, how right it was, and he thought about how badly this could all go wrong. In the dark barn, with the storm raging outside, Ethan made a silent promise. He would tell her, soon, before things went too far, before she got hurt again. He just needed to find the right moment, the right words, the courage. Morning came grey and wet. The storm had finally passed but left damage in its wake. Puddles everywhere, branches down, one section of fence completely destroyed. Maya woke up still leaning against Ethan. For a moment she didn't move, just stayed there, feeling his heartbeat under her ear. This felt too good, too comfortable, too dangerous. She sat up. Ethan's eyes opened immediately. "Morning," he said. His voice was rough with sleep. "Morning." They stood awkwardly, stretched sore muscles. The horses were calm now. The crisis had passed. "We should head back," Maya said. "Get cleaned up, check the damage." "Yeah." They walked together through the mud. The sun was trying to break through the clouds. Everything smelled like wet earth and rain. The ranch house came into view, and standing on the porch, arms crossed, was Luke. Maya's stomach dropped. "Great," Ethan muttered. "He's still here." They got closer. Luke's expression was cold, angry. When he spoke, his voice carried clearly across the yard. "So this is where you were all night? In the barn with your employee?" He looked at Maya with disdain. "How cozy." "Luke, don't." "When are you going to stop this act, Ethan?" Luke's voice rose. "When are you going to stop lying about who you are? Playing poor rancher when you could buy 100 properties like this without even noticing the money?" Maya froze. The words hit her like physical blows. "You're lying," she said, but her voice was weak. "Am I?" Luke turned to her. "Did he tell you about the trust fund? The real estate empire? The millions sitting in his accounts?" "Luke, shut up." Ethan's face had gone pale, but it was too late. Maya was backing away, her eyes wide, hurt, betrayed. "Maya, please." Ethan reached for her. She jerked away from his touch. "Don't. Let me explain." Explain what? That you lied, that you let me tell you about Marcus, about how much lying hurt me, and you sat there hiding the exact same thing. Her voice broke. How could you? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Ethan? Tears ran down her face now. Were you testing me too, seeing if I'd love you without knowing about the money? No, Maya, I swear. But she was already running, splashing through puddles, heading toward her cabin. Ethan started to follow, but Luke grabbed his arm. Let her go, little brother. Let her see who you really are. Ethan shoved Luke away. You had no right. I had every right. You were leading that girl on, pretending to be something you're not. At least now she knows the truth. The truth? Ethan's voice was raw. The truth is I love her, and you just destroyed everything. He left Luke standing there and ran after Maya, but when he reached her cabin, the door was locked. He could hear her crying inside. Maya, please open the door, let me explain. Go away. I never meant to hurt you. I wanted you to see me, the real me, not the money. The real you is a liar, she said through the door, just like Marcus, just like all of them. That's not fair. Get away from my door, Mr. Cole. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear from you. I'm done. Ethan stood there in the rain-soaked morning, his heart breaking. The woman he loved on the other side of a locked door, and he had no one to blame but himself. He'd kept the secret too long, and now he'd lost her. Maya didn't come out of her cabin for the rest of the day. She sat on her small bed, staring at the wall. Her phone buzzed with texts from Annie. She ignored them all. The hurt sat in her chest like a stone, heavy, cold. She'd been so careful, so cautious, and still she'd fallen for it again. Another man with secrets. Another lie wrapped in kind words and gentle touches. A knock came at her door that evening. Maya, it was Ethan's voice. Quiet, broken. Please, just talk to me. She didn't answer. I know I messed up. I know I should have told you sooner. But everything I said to you was true. My feelings are real. You are real to me. Silence. I'll leave you alone, Ethan said finally. But I'm not giving up. I can't. His footsteps faded away. Maya pulled her knees to her chest. She wanted to hate him. Wanted to pack her bags and leave this ranch and never look back. But a small part of her, the part that remembered his gentleness with the horses, his laugh, the way he'd held her during the storm, that part whispered, maybe there's more to the story. She told that part to shut up. Monday morning came whether Maya was ready or not. She had bills to pay, no savings to fall back on. She needed this job, so she got dressed, braided her hair, walked to the barn with her head held high. The other workers gave her sympathetic looks. News traveled fast on a ranch. Everyone knew something had happened between her and the boss. Maya ignored the stares. She focused on the horses, mucked stalls, filled water troughs, lost herself in the familiar rhythm of work. Around noon, Tommy approached her carefully. Hey, Maya, boss wants to see you in the house. Her stomach clenched. Tell him I'm busy. He said it's important. About the horses. Maya set down her shovel, wiped her hands on her jeans. Fine. The walk to the ranch house felt like walking to an execution. She climbed the porch steps, knocked once. Come in, Ethan's voice called. She pushed open the door, found him sitting at the kitchen table. He looked awful, dark circles under his eyes, hair uncombed, clothes wrinkled, like he hadn't slept. Good, a mean part of her thought. You should suffer. You wanted to see me? Her voice was cold. Maya, he stood up. Thank you for coming. I know you don't want to be here. You're right, I don't, so make it quick. Ethan flinched. I wanted to apologize properly, not through a door. Okay, apology heard. Can I go now? Please, just listen. No. Maya's voice shook. You listen. You had so many chances to tell me the truth after Luke showed up, when I told you about Marcus, in the barn during the storm, but you kept lying. I didn't lie. Lying by omission is still lying. Her control cracked. How you let me fall for someone who doesn't exist. Just like before, do you know how that feels? I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. You know what the worst part is? I was starting to trust you, starting to believe that maybe not everyone was like Marcus, that maybe I could open my heart again. Ethan's face twisted with pain. You still can? No, I can't. Not with you. She turned toward the door. If there's nothing else about the horses, I have work to do. Wait. Ethan moved quickly, pulled something from his pocket. Please, just take this. He held out a wooden horse brush. Simple, but beautiful. The handle was engraved with her initials. M.H. Maya stared at it. What is this? I ordered it weeks ago, before everything got complicated. I saw how your old brush was falling apart and I thought—" He trailed off. "I wanted you to have something nice, something that said I see you. I value you." The brush was warm from his pocket. Maya reached out. Her fingers brushed his as she took it. "This doesn't change anything," she whispered. "I know, but I wanted you to have it anyway." Ethan stepped back, put distance between them. "I'm not asking for forgiveness, not yet. I just want you to know that you matter to me. Everything about you, your strength, your kindness, the way you make the whole ranch feel alive." His voice went rough. "You're not just an employee, Maya. You never were." Maya clutched the brush. Her emotions were a tangled mess. Anger, hurt, confusion, and underneath it all, a stubborn flicker of feeling she couldn't quite kill. "I need time," she said. "Take all the time you need. I'll wait." She left before he could see her cry. That week passed slowly. Maya avoided Ethan as much as possible. He didn't push, didn't corner her, just watched from a distance with sad eyes. Annie drove up Friday afternoon. Found Maya in the stable, using the new brush on Storm's coat. "Nice brush," Annie said. "He gave it to me." "The boss?" "Yeah." Annie leaned against the stall door. "You still mad at him?" "Of course I'm still mad." Maya brushed harder. "He lied to me." "Did he, though? Or did he just not mention something?" Maya stopped, turned to glare at her cousin. "Whose side are you on?" "Yours, always yours." Annie held up her hands. "But I'm also trying to understand. Did he actually lie? Say things that weren't true, or did he just not bring up his bank account? That's the same thing." "Is it?" Maya threw the brush down. "Why are you defending him?" "I'm not. I'm just saying—" Annie sighed. "Look, I was the one who told you to be careful, to take it slow, and maybe you should still be careful. But from what I saw at that cookout, the way he looked at you, that wasn't fake." "How do you know?" "Because rich guys who are playing games don't look at women like they're the sun and the moon and every star in between." Annie came closer. "He messed up, no question. But maybe his reasons weren't about testing you. Maybe he was just scared." "Scared of what?" "Of losing you. Of you seeing the money instead of the man." Maya picked up the brush again, ran her thumb over her engraved initials. "It still hurts." "I know, baby. I know." They worked in comfortable silence for a while. Maya finished with Storm, moved on to the next horse. Annie helped. She'd grown up around animals too, though she'd chosen city life as an adult. "Mrs. Daniels invited me to a dance tomorrow night," Annie said casually. "Some community thing in town. She said you and Ethan were invited too." "I'm not going." "Why not?" "Because Ethan will be there." "So? You can dance with other people, have fun, show him what he's missing." Annie grinned. "Plus I already told Mrs. Daniels we'd come. She's excited." Maya groaned. "You're impossible." "I know. It's part of my charm." Despite everything, Maya smiled. Annie had that effect. Could make even the worst situations feel a little lighter. "Fine," Maya said, "but I'm not dancing with him." "Whatever you say." Saturday evening arrived too quickly. Maya stood in front of her tiny mirror, second-guessing everything. The dress Annie had brought her was simple, dark blue, fitted at the waist, falling just below her knees. Nothing fancy, but it made her feel pretty. She hadn't felt pretty in a while. Annie knocked and let herself in. She wore a bright yellow dress that made her skin glow. "Girl, you look amazing," Annie said. "I look nervous." "That too, but mostly amazing." Annie spun Maya around. "He's going to lose his mind when he sees you." "I don't care what he thinks." "Sure you don't." They drove into town as the sun set. The dance was being held at the community center, a converted barn with string lights and a wooden floor. Music already played inside. People gathered outside talking and laughing. Mrs. Daniels spotted them immediately. She was a small woman in her 60s with white hair and a warm smile. "Maya! Annie! You both look beautiful." She hugged them. Come in, come in. There's food and drinks inside." The community center was packed. Locals from all over had shown up. The music was country, fiddles and guitars. Some people were already dancing. Others stood around talking. Maya's eyes scanned the crowd automatically, looking for him. She found Ethan near the back. He wore dark jeans and a button-down shirt. His hair was combed, he looked good, too good, and he was staring right at her. Their eyes met across the crowded room. The air seemed to crackle. Maya looked away first. Her heart pounded. "Breathe," Annie whispered. "Just breathe." They got drinks, talked to neighbors Maya recognized from the ranch. Everyone was friendly, welcoming. It felt good to be part of something, to belong. The music shifted, slowed down. Couples moved onto the dance floor. Dance with me, Annie said. She pulled Maya onto the floor before she could protest. They danced together, laughing, spinning. It felt good to move, to forget about complicated feelings for a moment. When the song ended, a man Maya didn't know asked Annie to dance. Annie went, throwing Maya an apologetic look. Maya stood alone at the edge of the dance floor, suddenly awkward, exposed. "Maya!" She turned. Ethan stood there. He looked nervous, hopeful, scared. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Please?" "I don't know if that's a good idea. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Then I'll leave you alone for the rest of the night." Maya hesitated. The smart thing was to say no, to walk away, to protect herself. But she'd learned something this week. The feelings didn't just disappear because you wanted them to. They stayed, stubborn, persistent. 5 minutes, she said. They walked outside. The night air was cool. Stars filled the sky. Music drifted out from the community center, but out here it was quieter. Ethan led her to a bench near the parking area. They sat with space between them. "I've been thinking about what you said," Ethan started. "About how lying by omission is still lying. You're right, I should have told you sooner. Should have been brave enough to risk losing you by being honest." Maya didn't respond, just listened. "My father was wealthy, built a real estate empire. When he died, he left everything to me and Luke. Millions, properties, investments." Ethan's voice was flat, reciting facts. "Growing up with money was complicated. People always wanted something. Friends weren't really friends. Women weren't interested in me. They were interested in what I could give them." "That must have been hard," Maya said quietly. "It was lonely." He looked at her. "When I bought this ranch, I decided to live differently. No fancy cars, no designer clothes, just work. Simple life, real connections. So you were running away? Maybe, but also running towards something. I wanted to prove I could be more than my father's money, that I had value beyond a bank account." Maya understood that. "The wanting to be seen for who you really are. Why didn't you tell me? After we got close?" "Fear." Ethan's voice cracked. "Everything changed when I met you. You saw me, really saw me, as just a rancher, just a man, and you liked what you saw. I'd never had that before, someone who wanted me for me. But I didn't have all the information. I know, and that was wrong. I was selfish." He turned to face her fully. "When you told me about Marcus, I knew I had to come clean, but I was terrified. Terrified you'd see me the same way, as just another rich guy playing games." "Are you?" Maya asked. "Playing games?" "No." Ethan's voice was fierce. "Everything I feel for you is real. The way my heart races when you walk into a room, the way I can't stop thinking about you, the way I want to protect you and know you and be there for every single moment of your life." He took a shaky breath. "I'm in love with you, Maya Harris. I have been for weeks, and that's the truest thing I've ever said." Maya's breath caught. The words hung between them, heavy, important. "You barely know me," she whispered. "I know enough. I know you're brave and kind and stronger than anyone I've ever met. I know you give your whole heart to everything you do. I know the sound of your laugh makes my whole day better." He smiled sadly. "I know that losing you would break me." Tears slipped down Maya's cheeks. "You hurt me. I know, and I will spend the rest of my life making up for it if you'll let me. I don't know if I can trust you. Then let me earn it. However long it takes, whatever it takes. I'll prove to you that I'm worth the risk." Maya wiped her eyes. Her heart felt too big for her chest, too full of conflicting emotions. She was angry, hurt, scared, but she was also hopeful, wanting, in love. She was in love with him, despite everything. Despite the lies and the secrets and the pain, her stupid heart had chosen him anyway. "I need time," she said again. "This is all still too fresh, too raw." "I understand." Ethan stood, extended his hand. "But before I give you space, would you dance with me? Just one dance?" Maya looked at his hand, rough from work, strong. She could say no, should say no. She took his hand. They walked back inside together. The music was slow, romantic. Couples swayed on the dance floor. Ethan pulled Maya close, one hand on her waist, the other holding hers. They moved together, barely dancing, just holding each other. Maya rested her head against his chest, heard his heartbeat, steady, fast, real. "I want to trust you," she whispered. "I want to believe this is real. It is real. I promise you. This, us, it's the most real thing in my life." They danced through the song, and the next one, and the one after that, lost in their own world. The rest of the room faded away. When the music shifted to something upbeat, they stopped, stood together on the edge of the dance floor. "Thank you," Ethan said. "For the dance, for listening, for not giving up on me completely." "I haven't forgiven you," Maya said, but her voice was softer. "Not yet. I know. But maybe someday. Maybe." He smiled, actually smiled, like she'd given him the world. Annie appeared with Mrs. Daniels. They were laughing about something. When Annie saw Maya and Ethan together, her eyebrows rose. "Everything okay?" Annie asked carefully. "Yeah." Maya squeezed Ethan's hand once before letting go. "Everything's better." Mrs. Daniels beamed. "You two looked wonderful dancing together. Just wonderful. Young love is such a beautiful thing." Maya's cheeks heated. "Mrs. Daniels, oh, I know. I'm an old woman who meddles, but I've known Ethan since he was a boy. I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you, dear." She patted Maya's arm. "That's real. Don't let fear make you miss it." They chatted for a few more minutes. Then Mrs. Daniels wandered off to talk to other neighbors. Annie excused herself to get more punch. Maya and Ethan were left alone again. "She's not subtle," Ethan said. "Neither is Annie." They both laughed. The sound felt good, normal, like maybe they could find their way back to each other. More people arrived as the night went on. The community center grew crowded, hot. Maya stepped outside for some air. Ethan followed a moment later. They stood on the porch, not touching, but close. The stars were brilliant overhead. "It's beautiful out here," Maya said. "Yeah," but Ethan was looking at her, not the sky. Maya felt his gaze, felt the pull between them. She turned to face him. Their eyes met. "Ethan!" The door burst open. Luke stumbled out. He was drunk. His shirt was untucked. His eyes were mean. Well, Luke slurred. "If it isn't the happy couple." Ethan's whole body tensed. "Luke, go home." "Why? Can't I celebrate with everyone else? Can't I toast my baby brother and his new girlfriend?" Luke raised a beer bottle. "Here's to true love, built on honesty and—" "Oh, wait. That's right. Built on lies." "Luke, stop." Ethan's voice was dangerous. People were starting to notice, coming out to see what was happening. Maya's stomach twisted. "Did you tell her everything, Ethan? Did you tell her about the penthouse in the city, the yacht, the trust fund?" Luke's voice grew louder. "Did you tell her you could buy this whole town and not even notice the money?" "Shut up," Ethan said. "Why? Ashamed? Or just afraid she'll leave when she knows how rich you really are?" Luke turned to Maya. His smile was cruel. "He's a millionaire. Multiple times over. Everything about him is fake. The ranch, the cowboy act, the humble hard worker thing. It's all just pretend." The crowd was staring now. Everyone was listening. Maya felt their eyes on her. Judging. Pitching. She felt sick. "Is that true?" someone asked. "Ethan Cole is secretly rich?" another voice said. The whispers spread, fast, like wildfire. Ethan looked at Maya. His face was pale, desperate. "Maya, I'm sorry. I never wanted—" But she couldn't hear him over the roaring in her ears, couldn't think past the humiliation burning through her. Everyone knew now. Everyone was looking at her, pitying her. The poor girl who didn't know she was dating a millionaire, just like Marcus, just like before. History repeating. "I have to go," Maya said. "Maya, wait. No." She backed away. "I can't do this, not here, not with everyone watching." Annie appeared at her side. "Come on, honey. Let's get you out of here." They pushed through the crowd. People tried to stop them, to ask questions. Annie blocked them all, got Maya to the car, drove away while Maya cried in the passenger seat. Behind them, at the community center, Ethan stood alone. Luke was gone. Someone had dragged him away. Mrs. Daniels came to Ethan's side. "That boy needs a good talking to," she said, meaning Luke. "I've lost her," Ethan said numbly. "I've lost her, and it's all my fault." "Don't give up yet, dear. Love has a way of surviving even the worst storms." But Ethan couldn't see how, couldn't imagine a way back from this. He'd done exactly what he'd feared most. He'd hurt Maya, made her feel small and used and betrayed, and he didn't know how to fix it. Sunday morning, Maya packed her bags. She couldn't stay. Not now. Not with everyone knowing. Not with the whole town gossiping about her. Annie helped her. Neither of them talked much. There was a knock at the door. Maya's heart jumped, hoping and dreading that it might be Ethan. But it was Tommy. He looked uncomfortable. "Hey, Maya, boss wanted me to tell you, you don't have to leave. Your job is safe, and if you need time off, that's okay too. Paid, whatever you need." "Tell him thank you," Maya said quietly. "But I can't stay here." He also said— Tommy shuffled his feet. He said to tell you he's sorry, and that he'll give you all the space you need, but he's not giving up. Maya's eyes burned. Thanks, Tommy. He left. Maya finished packing, threw everything into her old car. Annie stood watching. You can stay with me as long as you need, Annie said. You know that, right? I know, thank you. They hugged, long and tight. For what it's worth, Annie said, I think he really loves you. Love isn't enough if there's no trust. Maybe not, but trust can be rebuilt. Maya didn't answer. She got in her car, drove away from the ranch, away from the horses, away from Ethan, away from the best and worst thing that had happened to her in years. The road blurred through her tears, but she kept driving, because that's what she did. When things got hard, when her heart broke, she survived. She always survived, but this time, surviving felt an awful lot like losing. Annie's apartment was small, one bedroom, a tiny kitchen, but it felt safe. Maya spent the first 2 days on the couch, staring at the TV without really watching, eating when Annie forced her to, sleeping in fits and starts. Her phone buzzed constantly. Messages from Ethan. She deleted them without reading. On the 3rd day, Annie sat down next to her, handed her a cup of tea. You need to get up, Annie said gently. Take a shower. Eat real food. Rejoin the living. I don't want to. I know. But you're going to anyway. Annie squeezed her hand. You're Maya Harris. You don't give up, even when things hurt. Maya looked at her cousin, saw the worry in her eyes, the love. She'd been selfish, wallowing in her pain while Annie took care of her. You're right, Maya said. I'm sorry. Don't apologize, just get up. So Maya did. She showered. The hot water felt good on her skin. She washed her hair, put on clean clothes. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Her eyes were puffy. Her face looked thin, but she was still here, still standing. In the kitchen, Annie had made breakfast. Eggs, toast, fruit. They ate together. Better? Annie asked. A little. Good, because we need to talk. Maya's stomach tightened. About what? About Ethan. I don't want to. Too bad. We're talking anyway. Annie set down her fork. Look, I get it. He messed up. He should have told you sooner. But Maya, baby, you can't let one mistake define everything. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a lie that went on for weeks. Was it, though? Did he ever actually lie? Or did he just not volunteer information about his bank account? Annie held up her hand before Maya could protest. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying maybe it's more complicated than you want it to be. Maya pushed eggs around her plate. Why are you defending him? Because I love you, and I saw your face when you danced with him. I saw how happy you were. Annie's voice went soft. You're in love with him, and he's in love with you. That doesn't just disappear because he was scared and stupid. What if I can't trust him again? Then you can't, and you walk away clean. But what if you can? What if you're throwing away something real because you're too afraid to try? The words settled over Maya like a blanket, heavy, uncomfortable, true. I don't know what to do, Maya whispered. You don't have to know right now. Just don't close the door completely. Not yet. They finished breakfast in silence. Maya helped wash dishes, and all the while, Annie's words echoed in her head. What if you're throwing away something real? At the ranch, Ethan was falling apart. He went through the motions, fed the horses, fixed equipment, talked to the workers, but inside he felt hollow, empty. Luke had left the day after the dance, drove away without a word of apology. Good. Ethan didn't want to see him. Didn't trust himself not to do something he'd regret. Mrs. Daniels came by on Tuesday, found Ethan in the barn, staring at Storm's empty stall. Maya's replacement hadn't started yet. Everything felt wrong without her. Ethan Cole, you look terrible, Mrs. Daniels said. Thanks. I'm being honest. You're moping around like a lost puppy. It's not attractive. Despite everything, Ethan almost smiled. Tell me how you really feel. I feel like you're giving up, and that's not the man I know. Mrs. Daniels came closer. Her voice went gentle. Talk to me, dear. What's going on in that head of yours? I lost her. The words hurt to say out loud. I lost the best thing that ever happened to me because I was too scared to be honest. So what are you going to do about it? What can I do? She won't answer my calls, won't see me. She left. Then you fight harder. Mrs. Daniels poked him in the chest. You don't give up on love. You prove to her that you're worth the risk, that your feelings are real, that you'll do whatever it takes. How? That's for you to figure out. But I'll tell you this. Your father spent his whole life chasing money, died alone and miserable. Don't make the same mistake. Don't let pride or fear keep you from the one person who sees you, really sees you. Ethan thought about his father, the empty house, the cold dinners, the relationships built on transactions instead of trust. He didn't want that life. He wanted Maya, laughter, warmth, real connection. What if she won't forgive me, Ethan asked. Then at least you tried, at least you fought, but I don't think it'll come to that. Mrs. Daniels smiled. That girl loves you. I saw it in her eyes when she looked at you. Love like that doesn't just disappear. After she left, Ethan stood in the barn, thinking, planning. He needed to show Maya, not just tell her, that she mattered more than anything, more than money, more than pride, more than fear. He needed a grand gesture, something that proved his love was real. An idea started forming. Risky, maybe foolish, but it might work. It had to work. Wednesday morning, Ethan made a call, then another. By afternoon, everything was arranged. He found Tommy in the equipment shed. I need you to handle things for a few days, Ethan said. I have something I need to do. Everything okay, boss? It will be. At least, he hoped so. Ethan went to the paddock. Storm was there, grazing peacefully. She'd come a long way since that first day when she'd almost hurt Tommy, all thanks to Maya's patience and skill. He approached the mare slowly. She let him touch her neck. Hey, girl, Ethan said softly. I need your help with something. Storm's ears flicked toward him, listening. I need to prove something to someone I love, someone who saved you, who saw past your fear and your walls and loved you anyway. His voice went rough. Sound familiar? The horse nuzzled his shoulder. Ethan had made his decision. Storm wasn't technically for sale. She was Maya's project, Maya's success, but she was also valuable, beautiful, well-trained now, and selling her would prove something, that he valued people over possessions, that he'd sacrifice something important for the chance to make things right. By Thursday afternoon, the sale was complete. Storm went to a good home, a family with kids who would love her. Ethan donated the entire amount to a local animal rescue, anonymously. He didn't want credit, didn't want recognition. He just wanted Maya to know that money meant nothing compared to her. Now came the hard part, facing her. Annie's apartment was in a neighborhood Maya didn't know well. Small houses, tree-lined streets, kids playing in yards. Maya sat on Annie's tiny porch, drinking coffee, watching the world go by. It was peaceful here, quiet, but she missed the ranch, missed the horses, missed the wide-open spaces, missed Ethan. She hated that she missed him, hated that her heart hadn't gotten the message that he'd hurt her, that trust was broken. But the heart didn't listen to logic. Annie came out carrying her purse. I'm running to the store. You need anything? No, I'm fine. You sure? I can pick up more ice cream. God knows we've gone through enough of it. Maya managed a smile. I'm sure. Annie hesitated. You doing okay? Really? Getting there. Okay. I'll be back in an hour. Annie kissed the top of Maya's head. Love you. Love you too. Annie drove away. Maya sat alone with her coffee and her thoughts. The sound of an engine made her look up. A truck was coming down the street. Familiar. Her heart started pounding before her brain caught up. The truck stopped in front of Annie's house. The door opened. Ethan climbed out. Maya stood. Her first instinct was to run inside, lock the door, but her feet wouldn't move. Ethan walked up the path slowly, like he was approaching a spooked horse. His face was tired, hopeful, scared. Maya, he said. Just her name, but it held everything. What are you doing here? Her voice shook. I needed to see you, to talk to you, please. I don't think... I sold Storm, he blurted out. Maya froze. What? I sold her, to a good family, and I donated all the money to the animal rescue outside of town. He took a breath. I know she was your project, your success, and I'm sorry I did it without asking. But I needed you to know, needed to prove that things don't matter to me. Money doesn't matter. Only you matter. Maya's legs felt weak. She sat back down on the porch step. You sold Storm? Yeah. Ethan sat down too, not too close, giving her space. I know it doesn't fix everything, doesn't undo my mistakes, but I wanted you to see that I'm serious, that I'll do whatever it takes to prove my love is real. Ethan, Maya didn't know what to say. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Not yet. I know I have to earn that. His voice was raw, desperate. I'm just asking for a chance, one conversation. Let me explain everything, the whole truth. No more secrets, no more hiding. Maya looked at him, really looked at him, saw the dark circles under his eyes, the way his hands shook slightly. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Because of her, because he'd hurt her, and it was eating him alive. 1 hour, Maya heard herself say. Tomorrow. You get 1 hour to explain everything. And then I decide if we can move forward, or if this is really over. Hope flashed across Ethan's face. Thank you. Thank you, Maya. I swear I won't waste it. Where? She asked. There's a place, by the river, about 10 miles from here. It's quiet, private. We can talk without interruptions. He pulled out his phone. I'll text you the address. Maya's phone buzzed. She looked at the message, the first one she'd read from him in days. Tomorrow, she said. 10 in the morning. I'll be there. Ethan stood, looked like he wanted to say more, do more, but he just nodded. Thank you for giving me this chance. He walked back to his truck, drove away. Maya sat on the porch steps. Her coffee had gone cold. What had she just agreed to? Was she being foolish, opening herself up to more hurt, or was she being brave, giving love a real chance? She didn't know, but tomorrow she'd find out. That evening, Annie came home loaded with groceries. She took one look at Maya's face and stopped. What happened? Ethan was here. Annie set down the bags. And I agreed to meet him tomorrow, to talk, to hear him out. Oh, honey. Annie pulled her into a hug. That took guts. Or stupidity. Maybe both. Annie pulled back, looked her in the eye. But you're doing the right thing. You're giving yourself a chance to hear the whole story, to make a real decision instead of just running away scared. What if he hurts me again? Then you survive it, like you always do. But what if he doesn't? What if this is the start of something real and lasting and beautiful? Maya wanted to believe that, wanted to hope, but hope was dangerous. Hope left you open to pain. Still, she'd agreed to meet him, and Maya Harris didn't break her promises. That night, she barely slept, tossed and turned, played through 1,000 scenarios in her head, what he might say, what she would say back, how it might end. When morning came, she felt exhausted, but determined. She dressed carefully, nothing fancy, just jeans and a simple top, comfortable, but she wanted to look good, wanted him to see what he'd lost, what he was fighting for. Annie made her eat breakfast, hugged her tight. Be honest with him, Annie said, but also be honest with yourself. Listen to what he says, but also listen to your heart. My heart is confused. Then listen to your gut. Maya drove to the address Ethan had sent. The river spot was beautiful, trees everywhere, water rushing over rocks, a small clearing with a fallen log that made a natural bench. Ethan was already there, pacing. When he saw her car, he stopped, waited. Maya got out, walked over slowly. They stood facing each other. The river babbled in the background. Thank you for coming, Ethan said. You said 1 hour, so talk. He took a breath. I'm going to tell you everything, the whole truth. And if you want to walk away after, I'll understand. I won't like it, but I'll understand. Maya nodded, sat down on the log. Ethan sat too, not touching. The space between them felt huge. I grew up rich, Ethan began. My father built a real estate empire. By the time I was born, we had more money than we could ever spend. Big house, expensive cars, private schools, all of it. Maya listened without interrupting. But money came with a price. People always wanted something. Friends were never really friends. They hung around because of what I could give them, what they could get from me. His voice went bitter. Girls were the worst. They'd pretend to care about me, say all the right things, but it was always about the money, the lifestyle, the things I could buy them. That must have been lonely, Maya said quietly. It was. My mother left when I was 10, said she couldn't handle the pressure of being married to my father, the expectations, the constant need to be perfect. Ethan picked up a stick, broke it into pieces. My father threw himself into work, made even more money, as if that would fill the hole she left. And your brother. Luke embraced it all, loved the wealth, the power, the status. Ethan tossed the stick pieces. We were never close. He thought I was weak for wanting something different, for wanting to be normal. Is that why you bought the ranch? Yeah. When my father died 3 years ago, he left everything to me and Luke. Luke took the business, the properties in the city. I took money and bought the ranch, somewhere I could work with my hands, live simply, be just a guy, not the heir to a fortune. Maya absorbed this, started to understand. You were hiding. I was trying to find myself, to prove I was more than my father's money, that I had value beyond a bank account. Ethan finally looked at her. His eyes were intense, pleading. And then you showed up, this incredible woman who looked at me and saw just a rancher, just a man. You didn't care about money or status. You cared about kindness, hard work, real connection. So you decided not to tell me? At first it didn't seem important. We barely knew each other, but then we got closer and He ran his hands through his hair. I was terrified. Terrified that if you knew the truth, everything would change. You'd see me differently, want me for the wrong reasons. Or worse, you'd see me as just another guy hiding behind money, another liar like Marcus. Maya flinched at the name. I know, Ethan said. I know how much he hurt you. And I swear to you, Maya, I never wanted to do the same thing. I wasn't testing you. I wasn't playing games. I just wanted you to know me, the real me, before the money complicated everything. But it did complicate everything, Maya said, because you waited too long. Let it become a secret, a lie. You're right. I should have told you after our first real conversation, after we had coffee, after the storm, after any number of moments when I felt close to you. His voice cracked. I was a coward, too scared of losing you to risk being honest. They sat in silence. The river rushed by. Birds sang. The morning sun filtered through the trees. Do you know why I left Marcus? Maya asked finally. Because he lied. Not just that. I left because I realized I'd fallen in love with someone who didn't exist. Every memory, every moment, all of it was built on a false foundation. She looked at Ethan, tears in her eyes. How do I know the same thing isn't true with you? How do I know the man I fell for is real? Because I am real, Ethan said fiercely. Everything you know about me is true. My love for the ranch, for the horses, for simple work and quiet mornings, my terrible jokes, the way I burn coffee if I'm not careful, the scar above my eyebrow from falling out of a tree as a kid. He moved closer, not touching, but close enough that she could feel his warmth. The way I feel about you, that's the realest thing in my life. I love you, Maya. I love your strength and your kindness and the way you see the best in everyone. I love how you talk to horses like they're people. I love your laugh, your stubbornness, the way you make everything better just by being there. Maya's breath caught. Tears spilled over. I know I messed up, Ethan continued. I know I hurt you. And I will spend the rest of my life making up for it if you let me. But please believe this. I never lied about my feelings, never pretended. What we have is real. I'm real, and I'm begging you for another chance. Maya wiped her eyes. Her heart pounded. Every instinct screamed at her to protect herself, to run, to keep her walls up. But another voice, quieter but stronger, said something different. It said, this is real. He is real, and love is worth the risk. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, Maya said slowly. The hurt is still too fresh, too raw. Ethan's face fell. I understand. But, Maya continued, I want to try. I want to see if we can rebuild trust, if we can start over with honesty this time. Hope flickered in his eyes. You mean, I'm willing to give us another chance. A real chance. But no more secrets. No more hiding. If this is going to work, we have to be completely honest with each other. About everything. Yes, Ethan said immediately. Anything. Everything. I swear, Maya, no more secrets. And you have to be patient with me. I need time to trust again. Time to believe this is real. I'll wait as long as it takes. I'll prove myself every single day if that's what you need. Maya looked at him, saw the love in his eyes, the desperate hope, the promise. She made her choice. Okay, she said softly. Let's try. Ethan's whole face transformed. Joy, relief, love. Really? You mean it? I mean it. He reached for her hand. Slowly, giving her a chance to pull away. She didn't. Their fingers intertwined. The touch sent warmth through her whole body. Thank you, Ethan whispered. Thank you for giving me another chance. I promise I won't waste it. They sat by the river, holding hands, not saying much, just being together. The morning sun warmed their skin. The water sang, and slowly, carefully, something broken started to heal. The drive back to Annie's apartment felt different, lighter somehow. Maya's hands were steady on the wheel. Her heart still hurt. That didn't just disappear, but underneath the pain was something else, something that felt like hope. Annie was waiting on the porch. She stood up when Maya pulled into the driveway. Well? Annie called out. How'd it go? Maya got out of the car, walked up the steps slowly. Then she smiled, really smiled. We're going to try again, Annie squealed, actually squealed, then pulled Maya into a crushing hug. I'm so proud of you, so proud. I'm terrified, Maya admitted. That's okay. Being brave means being scared and doing it anyway. Annie pulled back, held Maya's shoulders. Tell me everything. They went inside, made tea, sat on the couch. Maya told her cousin everything about Ethan's childhood, his fears, his reasons for hiding. about the conversation by the river, about her decision to try again. "But I'm taking it slow," Maya said. "We're going to rebuild trust, take things one day at a time." "Smart," Annie agreed. "What does that look like? Are you going back to the ranch?" Maya paused. She hadn't thought that far ahead. "I don't know. Maybe, eventually. But not yet. I need a little more time. You can stay here as long as you want. You know that." "I know. Thank you." Maya squeezed Annie's hand. "For everything. For taking me in. For letting me cry. For not letting me give up." That's what family does. They spent the afternoon talking, planning. Maya would look for temporary work in town, give herself space to heal. She and Ethan would see each other, take things slow, date properly this time, build a foundation based on honesty instead of secrets. It wouldn't be easy, but nothing worth having ever was. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan kept his promise. He called when he said he would, texted good morning and good night, never pushed, never demanded more than Maya was ready to give. They met for coffee on Tuesday, sat in a small cafe in town, talked for hours about everything and nothing. Ethan told her about his childhood, the loneliness, the pressure. Maya told him about growing up poor, about her grandmother's farm, about dreams she'd had to put on hold. They were getting to know each other, really know each other, the real people underneath the assumptions and secrets. On Friday, Ethan took her to dinner. Nothing fancy, a local diner with the best burgers in the county. They sat in a booth in the back, shared fries, laughed at stupid jokes. It felt normal, easy, right. "I like this," Maya said. "What?" "This. Us. Taking our time. Learning about each other properly." Ethan smiled. "Me too. Though I won't lie. I miss seeing you every day. Miss you at the ranch. How are the horses?" "Good. Storm's doing well in her new home. I got a photo yesterday. She's already bonded with the little girl who lives there." Ethan pulled out his phone, showed Maya the picture. Storm stood in a sunny paddock. A young girl with pigtails was hugging her neck. Both looked happy. Maya's eyes got misty. "That's beautiful. You trained her well, made her trust again." Ethan's voice went soft, "Kind of like what you're doing with me." Maya looked up, met his eyes, saw the love there, the patience, the promise. "It's getting easier," she admitted, "to trust you, to believe this is real. It is real, I promise you." "I know." They held hands across the table, just sitting together, content. When Ethan drove her back to Annie's later that night, he walked her to the door. They stood on the porch. The evening was warm. Stars were coming out. "Can I kiss you?" Ethan asked quietly. Maya's heart raced. They hadn't kissed since the dance, hadn't touched beyond holding hands. She'd needed the space, the time. But now, "Yes," she whispered. Ethan cupped her face gently, like she was precious, breakable. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to change her mind, to pull away. She didn't. Their lips met, soft, sweet, full of promise. Maya's hands came up to rest on his chest. She could feel his heartbeat, fast and strong. The kiss deepened, not rushed, just right. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. "Wow," Maya said. "Yeah, wow." Ethan rested his forehead against hers. "I've been wanting to do that for 2 weeks. It was worth the wait, definitely." He kissed her once more, quick, gentle, then stepped back. "Good night, Maya." "Good night, Ethan." She went inside, closed the door, leaned against it with a smile on her face. Annie poked her head out of the kitchen, took one look at Maya's face and grinned. "Good date?" Annie asked innocently. "The best." By the 3rd week, Maya was ready to visit the ranch again. Not to move back, not yet, but to see the horses, to walk the familiar paths, to test whether she could be there without the hurt overwhelming her. Ethan picked her up Saturday morning. The drive was comfortable. They talked about everything, what Maya had been doing in town, how the ranch was running, plans for the future. When they pulled up to the main house, Maya's stomach fluttered with nerves, but also with something that felt like coming home. Tommy was working in the barn. He spotted Maya and his whole face lit up. "Maya, you're back." He rushed over, stopped himself from hugging her at the last second. Hi." Maya laughed. "Hi, Tommy. It's good to see you. The horses have missed you. I've been trying, but I'm not as good as you." "I doubt that. You're doing great." They walked through the barn together. Maya greeted each horse by name, scratched their favorite spots, whispered to them. The animals responded to her touch, remembered her. One of the mares, a chestnut named Cinnamon, nuzzled Maya's pocket looking for treats. I didn't forget, Maya said. She pulled out an apple, cut it into pieces, fed them to Cinnamon one by one. Ethan watched from a distance, not hovering, just there if she needed him. Mrs. Daniels arrived around lunchtime. She brought a basket of food, sandwiches, fruit, homemade cookies. I heard you were visiting, Mrs. Daniels said to Maya. Thought you might be hungry. Thank you, that's so kind. Nonsense. You're family, dear, and family takes care of family. They ate lunch on the porch. The three of them plus Tommy. It was easy, comfortable, like Maya had never left. After lunch, Mrs. Daniels pulled Maya aside. Walk with me, she asked. They strolled toward the back pasture. The day was beautiful. Warm sun, cool breeze, mountains in the distance. How are you really doing? Mrs. Daniels asked. Better, getting better every day. And Ethan? He's been wonderful, patient, honest. Everything I need him to be. That boy loves you something fierce. Mrs. Daniels smiled. I've known him since he was young. Never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. I love him too, Maya said. The words felt good to say out loud. I fought it for a while, was too scared to admit it, but I do. I love him. Then what's holding you back from coming home? Because this is your home, dear. Whether you live here or not, you belong here. Maya thought about that. What was holding her back? Fear, mostly. Fear of being hurt again. Fear of trusting too much too fast. Fear of losing herself in someone else, but also pride. She'd left, walked away, and coming back felt like admitting defeat somehow. I don't want to seem weak, Maya admitted quietly, like I just forgave him and came running back. Love isn't weakness, child. It's the bravest thing we do. Mrs. Daniels stopped walking, turned to face Maya. You know what takes real strength? Choosing to trust again after being hurt, choosing to forgive when it would be easier to hold a grudge, choosing love when fear tells you to run. Tears pricked Maya's eyes. What if I get hurt again? Then you'll survive, like you always have. But what if you don't? What if this time is different? What if this time love wins? Maya hugged Mrs. Daniels. The older woman held her tight. Think about it, Mrs. Daniels said. Your cabin is still empty, waiting for you, whenever you're ready. That evening, Maya and Ethan sat by the barn as the sun set. They'd spent the whole day together, working with horses, fixing a fence, just being together. It felt right, natural, like pieces of a puzzle fitting together. Thank you for today, Maya said, for letting me come back without pressure. This is your home too. You're always welcome here. Mrs. Daniels said my cabin is still empty. Ethan nodded. I couldn't rent it out. Couldn't let someone else live there. It's yours, if you want it. Do you want me to come back? More than anything, but only when you're ready. Only when it feels right. He took her hand. I meant what I said, Maya. I'll wait as long as it takes. Maya looked out at the ranch, the fields, the barn, the mountains. This place had become home in such a short time, and she missed it. Missed the horses, the work, the sense of belonging. Missed waking up here, living here, being close to Ethan. What if I'm ready now? She asked quietly. Ethan's head whipped toward her. What? What if I'm ready to come home? Maya turned to face him. Not because I'm weak, not because I'm just forgiving and forgetting, but because I choose this, I choose you, I choose us. Maya. Ethan's voice was thick with emotion. I've spent 2 weeks thinking, processing, healing, and you know what I realized? I don't want to live in fear anymore. Don't want to let the past control my future. Yes, you hurt me. Yes, it took time to trust again, but I do trust you now, and I love you, and I want to be here, with you. Are you sure? I'm sure. Ethan pulled her into his arms, held her close. She could feel his heart racing, feel the relief and joy radiating from him. I love you, he whispered into her hair. I love you so much. I love you too. They stayed like that as the sun dipped below the horizon, as stars came out, as the ranch settled into evening quiet, finally home, finally together, finally ready to move forward. Maya moved back into her cabin the following weekend. Annie helped her. So did Ethan and Mrs. Daniels. They made a party of it, hauling boxes, arranging furniture, hanging pictures. The cabin felt different now, not like a temporary stop, like a real home. That evening after everyone had left, Ethan came by. He held a small wrapped box. What's this? Maya asked. A welcome home present, or maybe a fresh start present. He handed it to her. Open it. Maya unwrapped the box carefully. Inside was a key, simple, silver, with a small tag attached. The tag read, to the ranch house, to my home, to our future. Maya's breath caught. Ethan, you don't have to use it now or ever if you don't want to, but I want you to have it. I want you to know that you're not just welcome here. This is your place too. My home is your home, always. Maya threw her arms around his neck, kissed him hard. He kissed her back, holding her tight, like he'd never let go. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. Thank you, Maya said, for everything, for fighting for us, for being patient, for proving that you meant every word. Thank you for giving me another chance, for trusting me again, for loving me despite my mistakes. They stood in the doorway of the cabin, the evening warm around them, the future open and bright. So what happens now? Maya asked. Now we live, we work, we laugh, we build something together. Ethan tucked a braid behind her ear. We take it one day at a time. No rush, no pressure. Just us. Just us, Maya repeated. I liked the sound of that. The next few months passed in a blur of happiness. Maya fell back into the rhythm of ranch life, working with horses, fixing fences, watching sunrises and sunsets over the mountains. But everything was better now, because she and Ethan were building something real, something honest, something that would last. They had breakfast together most mornings, sometimes in her cabin, sometimes in the main house. They talked about everything, dreams, fears, hopes for the future. Ethan told her about his business deals, not to impress her, just to keep her informed, part of his life. Maya told him about her plans, maybe starting a training program for rescue horses, maybe expanding the ranch's breeding operation. They made decisions together, planned together, built a life together. Annie visited often. She and Ethan had become friends. They ganged up on Maya regularly, teasing her, making her laugh. Mrs. Daniels came by for dinner once a week. She always brought dessert, always had stories to tell, always reminded them that love was worth fighting for. Even Luke showed up eventually, 6 months after the dance incident. He came to the ranch, sober, apologetic. I was a jerk, he said to Ethan. Then to Maya, I'm sorry for what I did, how I treated you. You didn't deserve that. Maya studied him, saw genuine remorse in his eyes. Thank you for the apology, for what it's worth. My brother is happier than I've ever seen him. That's because of you. Luke managed a small smile. He chose well. It wasn't a perfect reconciliation, but it was a start. The brothers had a long way to go, but at least they were talking again. One morning in early spring, Maya woke before dawn. She got dressed quietly, walked out to watch the sunrise. The ranch was peaceful, birds just starting to sing, dew on the grass, the mountains painted pink and gold by the rising sun. She heard footsteps behind her, turned to find Ethan walking toward her, 2 mugs of coffee in his hands. Couldn't sleep, he asked. Didn't want to. It's too beautiful to miss. He handed her a mug. They stood together, sipping coffee, watching the day begin. I was thinking, Ethan said, about us, about the future. Maya's heart skipped. What about it? I want to build something with you, not just the ranch, not just a business, a life, a real life together. He set down his mug, took her hands. I know we said no rush, no pressure, but Maya, I can't imagine my future without you in it. Can't imagine waking up without you, growing old without you. Tears filled Maya's eyes. Ethan, I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. I know we need more time, but I'm asking, can you see it? A future with me, a real forever. Yes, Maya said without hesitation. I can see it. I want it. Relief flooded his face. Really, really, you're it for me, Ethan Cole. You're my person, my partner, my home. He kissed her as the sun rose behind them, kissed her like she was everything, because to him she was. When they pulled apart, both were smiling through tears. So we're doing this? Ethan asked. We're doing this. Building a life together? Building a life together. They stood on the ranch they both loved, the sun warming their faces, the future stretching out before them, full of possibility, full of promise, full of love. 1 year later, on a perfect autumn day, Maya Harris became Maya Cole. The wedding was small, just family and close friends, held right there on the ranch under a canopy of golden leaves. Annie stood beside Maya as maid of honor, crying happy tears. Mrs. Daniels sat in the front row, smiling wide. Even Luke attended, sober, genuinely happy for his brother. Ethan stood at the altar in a simple suit, eyes locked on Maya. When she walked down the aisle, the grass path between the barn and the house, his face transformed with joy. She wore a white dress, simple, elegant, nothing fancy, just right. When they said their vows, Maya spoke from the heart. "Ethan Cole, you showed me that love is worth the risk, that trust can be rebuilt, that honesty and vulnerability are strengths, not weaknesses. You taught me that home isn't a place, it's a person, and you're my home, today, tomorrow, always." Ethan's voice shook when he spoke. "Maya Cole, and yes, I'm calling you that now because you're about to be my wife. You saved me from loneliness, from fear, from a life where I was hiding instead of living. You saw the real me and loved me anyway. You gave me a second chance when I didn't deserve one, and I promise to spend the rest of my life proving that your trust wasn't misplaced, that your love wasn't wasted, that together we can build something beautiful." They kissed as husband and wife. The small crowd cheered. Annie sobbed. Mrs. Daniels beamed. The reception was held in the barn. String lights hung everywhere. Music played. People danced and laughed and celebrated. Maya and Ethan had their first dance as the sun set, swaying together, holding each other close. "Happy?" Ethan asked. "Happier than I ever thought possible." "Me too." They danced under the lights, surrounded by people they loved, in the place that had brought them together, where they'd fallen apart and found their way back to each other. Later that night, after the guests had left, Maya and Ethan walked the ranch together, hand in hand, the stars brilliant overhead. "Thank you," Maya said. "For what?" "For not giving up, for fighting for us, for showing me that true love exists. Thank you for giving me a second chance, for trusting me again, for choosing love over fear." They stopped by the barn, the same place where they'd spent the night during the storm, where Maya had almost kissed him for the first time, where everything had started. "I love you," Maya said. "I love you too, forever." They kissed under the stars, on the ranch that was now truly theirs, a place built on honesty, trust, real connection, a place built on love. And as they walked back to the house, their house now, their home, Maya thought about everything that had brought them here, the pain, the mistakes, the forgiveness, the growth. She thought about how scared she'd been to trust again, to risk her heart. And she was grateful she'd been brave enough to try, because this life, this love, this man, was worth every risk, worth every tear, worth everything. 5 years later, Maya stood in the same barn, but now she was holding a tiny hand. Her daughter, 3 years old, with her mother's dark eyes and her father's smile, was meeting a new foal for the first time. "Gentle," Maya reminded her. "Always gentle with the horses." "Gentle," her daughter repeated. She reached out carefully, touched the foal's soft nose. Ethan came up behind them, wrapped his arms around Maya, rested his chin on her shoulder. "She's just like you," he said. "Good. The horses need someone who understands them." "I wasn't talking about the horses. I was talking about her courage, her kindness, her big heart." Maya turned in his arms, kissed him softly. "We made something pretty great. We did, in more ways than one." They watched their daughter bond with the foal, saw the same gentleness, the same patience, the same love for animals that had brought Maya to this ranch all those years ago. The ranch had grown. They'd expanded the training program, took in rescue horses from all over, gave them second chances, just like Ethan and Maya had been given a second chance. Life was full, busy, sometimes messy, but always good, because they'd built it together, on a foundation of honesty, trust, real love. Maya looked around the barn, at the horses, at her daughter, at her husband, at the life they'd created. This was home, this was family, this was everything she'd ever wanted, and it had all started with a frightened horse, a moment of courage, and a man brave enough to fight for love. "Thank you," Maya whispered to Ethan. "For what?" "For everything, for this life, for our family, for never giving up on us." Ethan kissed her forehead. "Thank you for giving me a reason to fight, for being my home, my heart, my everything." Their daughter called out, "Mama, Papa, come see." They walked over together, a family, partners, forever. And as the afternoon sun streamed through the barn windows, Maya felt nothing but gratitude for second chances, for forgiveness, for the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. She'd risked her heart, and it had been worth it, because true love, built on honesty, trust, and courage, was worth any risk. It was worth everything.